The last year has not been the best for competitive Pokemon play, however things are looking up. With collecting being at an all-time high and the advent of huge online tournaments, never has there been a better time to get into the Pokemon trading card game. But where to start? Enter sealed only Pokemon. Like many before me, such as Nimnim, Rebs, Fat Moose, and Let's Play Pokemon, I'm diving into a unique and fun trading card challenge. On a budget of £30 an episode, I'll be trying to build a competitive Pokemon deck to take on the PTCGO ladder and battle our way through online tournaments. The catch? I can only use sealed official products to build my deck. That means no trading, no buying singles, and no easy way out. So, with that in mind, let's crack some packs. Here we are, post episode 4, we entered our first in-client tournament. And it went awful, just terribly. But we're not going to let that get us down. We are, after all, only 5 episodes into our journey, and considering where we started, we have come a long way. It's just that we still have quite a bit further to go before our deck is able to actually tackle the Meta Club. Since last episode, I did something I wasn't expecting to do for a few more weeks, and I entered my first local team challenge. My LGS is set 2 dates in January and 2 in February, and I always planned on entering the February dates, hoping our deck would be in a better position by then. But last Sunday came around and I found myself thinking that there was no good reason not to enter for the fun of it. I did record the games, you can see on screen at the moment, but I'm not going to go through them in any detail this week, because to be honest, it went just as you can imagine. We only took 1 game in our 3 best of 3s, and to be fair, it was against Pikarom, which felt really good. I just wanted to give you guys an update on how it went, considering the team challenge was our first milestone that we wanted to hit. I will show off games in episode 6 or 7 in the team challenge when I feel our deck has actually got a chance of taking some wins. But with that out of the way, let's look forward to this week. And I asked you guys to comment on last video, telling me what you think we should open this week. And I shouldn't be surprised with the result. So thanks to you kind, generous, and not at all sadistic viewers, this week, in lieu of any guaranteed pulls, we're just going to have to pray to Arceus that we get lucky. Before we get into this massacre, I'm actually going to remember earlier in the video for once, while most of you are still watching, to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the chance to make me open an absurd number of packs. We actually have 8 celebration packs here, which means 16 packs overall, and it comes in at £28, which after an accounting error last episode where I didn't account for 50p, that leaves us £1.50 going into next episode. Let's crack these open. Gonna be honest, I'm a little bit nervous this week. We normally guarantee ourselves something that we add to our deck, but we're really leaving it up to fate this time. I guess there's nothing left to do but actually crack some packs. Without further ado, here we go. Farfetch'd, Meowth, Caterpie, Corso. There's nothing we need in the commons at this point, I believe. So I'm probably going to try and speed through them, just so this video doesn't take way longer than it needs to. Oh, that's cool. And our first rare is... oh, it's a holo. That's cool. That's a good sign, right? That's a good sign. We'll keep track of what pack gives us the most pulls, or which set gives us the most pulls. Doesn't mean anything. It's just arbitrary fun, right? Skarmory, Chubchoo, Wimpod, Bunnelby. I haven't checked how much Mad Party we've opened so far. Could be fun to swap over to Mad Party one week. Vanillish and... ugh. I'd say ugh. I actually really like the art on this card, but I remember opening it up in Champion's Path as well, and so it soured me a little bit. Ah, damn it. Oh well. Not what we're looking for in this pack then. Let's see what we got though. Roly-Coly, Plin, Taina, Magikarp, Lightning Energy, Carkol, Heatmore, Zatu, Stunky, and our badass Toxtricity. I'm a little nervous that we're going to add nothing, but we had to do this eventually. We had to have at least 1 week where we went all nuts and just cracked a bunch of packs. I think maybe I just thought it would take us longer to get here, but you give the internet the choice of opening packs, you shouldn't be surprised. Frappinch and Toxtricity. 2 different Toxtricities in 2 different sets, back to back. I feel like our luck with these double packs actually hasn't been that solid. Have we got a lot of pulls? We'll have to do a binder review one of these episodes, maybe next episode, just to actually look at what we've pulled. Because obviously we're not pulling what we need, but are we pulling anything cool? Are we pulling good stuff? Not like that, we're not. We did pull a Mary. Love to see it. We did pull a few things the first few episodes, I'm pretty sure. Did I do that right? Yeah, that's right. Mary, Paris, Gothita, Skarmory, Chubchoo, Fire, Relicanth, Zuelus, and our rare is Beartic. Squirtle, Applin, Temple, Trubbish, Metal, Speed, Pelipper, Palisand, Trubbish again, and Barraskewda. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. This is not going well. Oh, this is going to be a rough week if we open nothing. Simeon, Fletchling, Wimpod, Grimer, Boink, Energy, Ears. Oh, we did open full art Ears last time. I don't know what I'm talking about. We definitely have cool things. Spec, Sentry, and Talbot. Yeah, we oof. But hey, at least we don't drag these trash packs out over a few weeks, right? We're going to get them all out in one go. That's something, right? Barbooch, Screwbit, Applin, Tempog. Come on, please, gimme Inteleon V Max. I'll take a second Inteleon. Just what was that? That's something. Look. Oh, it's a V. That's cool, I suppose. We got a pull. We got a pull. I would happily take even a regular Inteleon just to beef out the line. That way I can at least pretend we got something. But as it stands, it's not going great. I had high hopes for this. The Wooloo! Wooloo! Hiding. Aaron, and that's nothing back there. Where are the pulls? He's going to be anywhere. It's got to be in an Inteleon pack, right? Lotad. Gonna have to have words of Poketage about these celebration packs he sold me. What's with the pulls? He's kept all the good packs for himself. No, too soon. Oh, this works. Okay, this we can play. We can play this. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Okay, you don't get a penny sleeve. You get a proper inner sleeve, friend. There you go. Okay, something added to the deck this week. Episode saved. Huge sigh of relief there with that one. Starting to get real worried about this episode. The Eldegoss V coming in clutch. Jigglypuff and Serena. Darkness Ablaze though, absolutely letting us down. Absolutely letting us down. Right, 2 more packs, 2 more chances at getting a Inteleon V Max. I think a little part of me was speeding through this, not just for the episode length, but because I was fearful of getting nothing at all. I wanted to get through that as quick as possible. But, oh, we got some. Oh, Rebel Flash. Just. Oh. Okay. Not a VMAX. Got another V. Oh, yes. Woo. That's That's fantastic. That is, yeah. One of our options was just to open an Inteleon V tin this week, so at least we can check that off. Unless we end up getting a bunch of VMAXs, we shouldn't need any more Vs. Oh, let's put these out of the way. Oh, I got too excited with the Inteleon there. Is that the right? Oh, yeah, it is. Chubchew, taking the breath out of me, that has. Rowlet, Jigglypuff, Diglett, Pampor, Energy, Blaffy with the cameo art. Come on, come on. Well, there's no V at the back here. Parasol, Piers, and it's a holo. It's a holo. Sorry, Dinosaur Blaze, but you are just not doing it for me. Last chance. Last chance. I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful. Bantuck, Bronzor, Toxel, Applin, Darumaka, Fire, Dracolap, Bronzong, Milo, Magikarp, and Magmorph. Wait, I didn't even know that was a card in this set. Oh, that looks sweet. Just regular, but oh, that's cool. Dig it? I'm in a much better mood now. So much better mood. Been watching a few other sealed onlys, mainly TCG TEU, who is pulling the nuts right now. Just insane pulls, one after another. And I was really worried we weren't going to get anything. Mime, Grimer, Wink, Skitty, Energy, Vanillish, Poltegeist, more Mad Party. We've got that much Mad Parties this episode. Solrock, Diggersby, and can we end this episode with a Crobat V? Another Toxtricity. Bloody darkness splits. It's okay though. It's okay. We are adding 2 relatively good cards into our deck this week with Inteleon V and Eldegoss V. I'm happy with that. We were searching for Inteleon V Max. We didn't find it. But this is a good second best. So let's slap this into our deck. Should be relatively easy. And get to some special games this week. Just a quick run through of the deck, as there aren't too many changes from the previous episode. First things first, going through the things that we removed, we reduced our energy count down to 12 from 14, as the extra 2 energy just didn't seem to be helping us, and we just wanted the deck space. We removed 2 energy switch, which I didn't feel ever actually mattered in the grand scheme of things, and we finally got rid of the Mimikyu. As much as I liked him being there, he just wasn't pulling his weight in the deck. In terms of additions this week, we have obviously got the Inteleon V, which was probably in the top 3 of pulls we could have got from the packs this week. It's no VMAX, but it is still a fantastic attacker for us. We also have Eldegoss V, which won't be doing much attacking, but will allow us to get those integral supporters on the turns that we actually need them. So that's a fantastic addition. We've also, in place of the 3 other cards we removed, added in 1 additional Squirtle and a Wartortle, just for extra added consistency, and in the same vein of mind, added in the 4th Professor's Research, as I felt like it was noticeably missing from our previous deck. Small changes, but edging us ever closer to a competitive build. Now for something a little bit special. This week we've managed to get a few games in with friend of the channel and inspiration for this particular sealed only, Let's Play Pokemon. He brought with him 2 of his decks from his new series Hoenn Legends, which focus on, as you would imagine, the 2 legendaries from the Hoenn region, Kyogre and Groudon. Links in the description below. And something a little special for Game 3 that if any of you have seen as sealed only might seem familiar. So, without further ado, let's get on him. Game 1 we faced up against his Kyogre deck, and we both started rather suboptimally. However, following our turn 1 plays, we both succeeded in getting out our big V Pokemon onto our bench. Inteleon for us, and Zacian for our opponent. Switching into Inteleon and digging deeper in hopes of finding some pieces to our Blastoise, I came to the realisation that I hadn't done my homework for this episode, and couldn't remember what was exactly in his deck. So I decided not to bench anything else, and instead to try and KO his Mew as quickly as possible, as he would prove to be rather annoying as the game progressed. The appearance of Galar Mine and Boss's Orders didn't prove to be as frustrating as it normally would, thanks to the 2 air balloons already in our hand. We failed the coin flip to put Mew back in the active position, so proceeded to balloon up both Squirtle to avoid being in this position again, and retreat into Inteleon V. A more fortuitous flip on Turbo Patch made it almost as if nothing had happened. Kyogre and Prinplup made an appearance, but not much else, so we Marnied down his large hand and take the first prize card of the game. Unfortunately, Inteleon still hits the board on the following turn, and I was so expecting to have my bench sniped that I totally forgot what else Inteleon could do with Recall. Unable to attack thanks to the effect from Piplup, I bossed up the Zacian and passed. Our opponent's Hoenn does what Hoenn does best, and made us swap our powered up Inteleon with the fresh one on our bench. Hoenn showed quite a few times in this matchup that it could prove to be a key addition for our deck, so I will be keeping that in mind for future episodes. After a quick back and forth, we Great Ball for the Dedenne-GX, but end up deciding that keeping Blastoise is more important and hold off playing the Electric Mouse this turn. Instead, we put damage on Zacian and peeked into our opponent's hand. A second Inteleon comes down and I start to realise any early game advantage we had from taking the first prize is quickly running out. Thankfully, there seems to be no way for him to get his Zacian V out of the active, and we give ourselves another turn to prepare for the March of the Penguins. A Marnie off the top saves me from having to decide between draw and my Blastoise, plus again reducing that large hand of our opponents. However, our draw leaves much to the imagination, and instead we go for the KO on Zacian. We're forced to Hoenn up a benched Pokemon and decide on one of the Squirtles that I wouldn't be too upset if it dies, plus the Air Balloon should allow us to pivot out if it survives. The Inteleon does indeed recall the Prinplup ability to damage our benched Inteleon for 100, leaving our active alive. I use a quick ball to look into our deck and remove a Sobble to thin it out. We then throw back a Squirtle with Communication and DAA change. This time we see the candy, but no Blastoise, so we try to retreat into our Inteleon to attack. And here comes our painful misplay. You'll notice that I didn't mention the benched Absol. That's because I didn't notice. Even once I realised I can't retreat, I didn't notice. I spent far too long convincing myself that it's a bug before deciding just to attack and get some damage in. Our opponent of course takes no time at all to take the free KO on our benched Inteleon. The next turn I am not proud of. We stamp him down to 4 in case any of those prize cards were any good, and make what I think is the major misplay of this game. I attach a second energy, and where I'd convinced myself of a bug, I didn't even look at the now viable retreat button and instead just hit in for 20. One of my more embarrassing misplays, although surely not our last. Hoenn actually gives us a way out of my imaginary retreat lock, so we take 80 and rod back a few resources into our deck, and then pass. Unfortunately, it's too late for our second Inteleon and he is KO'd for our sins. We finally see Blastoise and use his ability to find nothing. It's honestly at that point I mentally call the game, but we pass it back over nonetheless. Boss's Orders sees Dedenne brought into the active position and pounded for 80. We use our second DAA change to find Inteleon V, switch into Blastoise, and boss up the injured Inteleon. With that KO, I start to wonder if maybe I was too hasty, maybe we can actually pull this game back from the jaws of defeat. But the recall ability on Inteleon swiftly reminds us that he can snipe the Dedenne for 100 and the game. Shaking off that loss, we move straight into Game 2, where this time we battle the Hoenn region's other big legendary, Groudon. Again, we start with a less than ideal basic Pokemon, and face up against a card I would love to have in our deck, Oricorio GX, the saviour of the single prizer. Thankfully it's because of his ability, not because of his attack, so we know we have some time to build. We search out our Inteleon V and a Squirtle, research into Dubwool, and swing for the Gibble. I know Oricorio will be a problem in this game, but I hope to nip the Garchomp in the bud before he can start putting out damage on us. Unfortunately, the Gabite evolution means that we can't snipe next turn for KO, but even if that were the case, Mew rears his ugly head again to end that dream. Respecting the power of Marnie this time, I hold on to my Dedenne-GX, dust up the Mew and try to end his career ASAP. Unfortunately, he runs and hides yet again, but the decision not to waste DAA change pays off as a second Marnie appears. Although the hand we are given is just as awful, and Garchomp hits the board for our opponent. I decide we don't want to lose the Inteleon and switch into our Dubwool to tank. What's that? Dubwool has a weakness to fighting? Yes it does. Did I remember that? No I didn't. We threw away our late game attacker by forgetting about his weakness. We pivot back into Inteleon with nothing else to do and take out the opposing Garchomp. No retaliation comes immediately, but after some back and forth, Garchomp returns and bosses up our Wartortle to stop us ever getting to Blastoise, which is heartbreaking as we top deck a communication, so instead we search out a backup Inteleon. In hindsight, I should have got the Eldegoss for the research or the boss, but I'm just not used to thinking that way with Eldegoss yet. We swap around to mitigate some damage and KO the Garchomp, only for another to appear thanks to Rare Candy. A fateful Dedenne gives us options, including a very satisfying Reset Stamp. But ultimately we have to end our turn praying our opponent doesn't draw the energy he needs. Sadly, it was not meant to be, and we fell in game 2. Our last game is the big one, sealed only King of the Hill versus scrappy underdog, the Pikarom match. Going first, our turn 1 hand leaves a lot to the imagination, but we get the Inteleon out hoping to do some damage early. Pikarom, however, isn't known as being super consistent for no reason. After starting just a Tapu Koko Prism Star, he manages to get a near full bench, a semi-powered Pikarom, and 2 Doggos. Using 2 Pokémon Catcher, we finally get the Koko back in the active to deny him more energy acceleration next turn, and in the sake of speed we are forced to research away 2 Rare Candy, but are rewarded with a Wartortle and a second Inteleon. Marnie is mildly annoying as we lose the Blastoise, but fine Dubwool, so ups and downs. But dodging the coin flip on 2 Crushing Hammers is really great for us. On our turn we bench the Dubwool and a second Squirtle, but choose not to throw away any more resources with Day Change, and instead just attack to get more damage on Pikarom. The switch finally comes out and we lose our first Inteleon, but Marnie puts us in a decent position. We gamble on getting the energy we need and promote Dubwool. We decide the Torrential Cannon first, and whiff. So we pivot back out of Dubwool, sacrificing a Squirtle to the tag team gods. Boss's Orders unfortunately brings up our Blastoise, who is thankfully not weak to lightning, but the attack does power up a Mew 3 on the bench and our victory seems harder and harder to reach. However, this time we manage to get enough energy, so we bring Dubwool back up for the 3 Pies KO. Retaliation was unfortunately at hand, however, and our opponent's bench was absolutely stacked with energy at this point, so one Bolt Storm from Boltorn wipes out our normally tanky sheep. I quickly realised that our only chance of winning is to get Dubwool back, and it seems an Ordinary Rod is either in our deck or our prizes, so we start digging, but end our turn with a sacrificial Sobble in hopes of having one more turn to get the Dubwool V back up. However, Boss puts an end to that dream and Inteleon falls for game. Honestly, that was the most fun I've had losing for a while, and this might sound strange, but it felt really good knowing that some of the games we lost in today's episode and the ones off screen in the team challenge were because we misplayed. And what I mean by that is that our deck is really starting to come into its own, and hopefully with some more games under our belt piloting this deck we can really pull together some wins consistently. So to that end I'll be trying to fit in more games in between episodes to improve myself as much as we've improved the deck. Playing against Let's Play Pokemon's decks this week taught me a lot, and please do check out his channel. While not the first, his really is the gold standard in Pokemon Sealed Only. His Hoenn Legends decks really caught me off guard, but I think on another day we could have taken a few of the games in our favour, so I'm feeling quite positive this week. There were a lot of moments where I felt our deck had important decisions to make, and that was great to experience with this Sealed Only deck, considering where we've come from. And looking forward to next week, hopefully we'll be able to show off some of the games from our second team challenge. I think there's only one course of action for us next episode, and that has to be opening the Zacian V League Battle deck. Funnily enough, after saying how well our deck is coming together, this product should shift the way we play quite a bit, but I believe for the better. We'll have to wait until next episode to see, I guess. The deck is really starting to come together, and I think with the right pulls and a ton of luck we might be onto something in the next few episodes. We'll just have to hope that the great Pokemon sealed product drought of 2020 ends soon, or we're going to have to end up gambling opening Shining Fates come February, and I do not see that going well. But until next time, keep cracking packs.